Alright, so we've looked at succession of invasive exotics into an area of native vegetation at an Air BNB. What I didn't look at in any great detail was this area of mown grass. So if you've got a succession, you've got a sear basically from open land through short vegetation, herbaceous vegetation, through scrub such as this blackthorn, all the way to high forest, which you've kind of got over there. You see these domes of, I think they're sallow. Well, there's definitely a sallow there, so it's a type of willow. The succession to high forest. That sear, that succession, can be stopped artificially at any stage, at any searal stage, and that can be called a plagioclimax. That's a very loose use of that term. So here we have, instead of a grazed plagioclimax, which might occur naturally if you have a large population of herbivores repeatedly visiting a small site and basically halting or very drastically slowing down the succession, here we've got what could be called loosely a mown plagioclimax. So a local chap with a mower turns up once a week or once every 2 weeks and a strimmer and basically chops everything off. So that forces all the vegetation down to a low level, and he doesn't do areas like this obviously because this is fairly long, but this is very short vegetation anyway, because this looks like an old septic tank, so there'll be concrete under there, kind of like there's concrete under here. So if he comes and mows it, chops everything off, and everything regrows, has to regrow. So some plants, such as this one here, which I think is ragwort, would basically be a biennial naturally. They'd start the first year as a rosette of leaves, which is a rosette of a dandelion family species, and a rosette of plantain leaves. So it would start off as a rosette, build up resources until it can put up a flowering spike, flower, set seed, job done. That's the end of it. And if you keep cutting it off a biennial, you can turn it into a facultative perennial. So it'll go over the winter, if it survives again, into the third year and try and flower, gets cut off and then go again. And sometimes these plants can actually spread vegetatively. Puts a side stem out from where it's been cut, and that could spread along and then reroot depending on what plant you've got. So you can keep a species in a sward which is cut down low, which is listed officially as a biennial or an annual, and that's something which needs to be remembered when you're thinking about something like No Mow May, or whether or not mowing or hard grazing is a good thing for native species. But this bit of lawn here, things like ground elder in it, various grasses, black medic. There's black medic growing a bit where it's been missed by the mower. Got lots of nice little mosses, various other things. Over there there's kidney vetch, and there's horseshoe vetch and other nice things, and the turf is thick and springy where it's been cut for year after year after year. This is pineapple weed. You see the frilly leaves and plantains. So if you spent some time on here, you could get a fair old species list, especially if you could do mosses and potentially even liverworts. Let's go around the other side. Got rabbit grazing here as well. This is a cinquefoil. See the leaves with 5 lobes. I'm getting sidetracked. This is a little sedge with the little hairs on the leaves. So it's not a grass. Different genus, different group. So we're going to go around the other side and have a look at another bit of grass and see what we can find there, because I saw some different bits. Right, got sidetracked again. Saw something else, so we didn't make it. Here we have an area which has been recently bare ground. See, the vegetation is different, much shorter. It's been sat here for years. Basically with dirt. It's poor soil. So it's recolonised, and you've got still patches of bare ground, which the rabbits are nibbling away around. So back to the grass again. Don't know what that is. Various other things through here. If we spent some time with a quadrat is basically a square, usually subdivided. That looks like a little St John's wort. Potentially. My botany's a bit rusty. But a quadrat is a square, basically concentrates your effort on an area of grassland. The other side of the blue van, the Nuffield tractor. You've got this area of grassland, which is mown the same, but it's slightly different and more interesting. This is eyebright. This is a hemiparasite. It tends to grow where grass is kept very short, either by environmental soil conditions or by grazing. See it quite a lot on short grassland. It's a hemiparasite, gets part of its nutrient from the plants around it. And over here is a heath milkwort. See the little blue job? So you've got eyebright and heath milkwort. And you've got different forbs. That looks like a little... Forb is basically a flowering plant with broad leaves that you find in grassland. It's a term to differentiate from grasses. And here you've got what looks like a little violet. And further along I saw a little primrose. But this is another area of grass which has been mown for year after year after year. Bird's foot trefoil again. So mowing can actually, along with grazing action by rabbits, and rabbits doing scrapes like this, this has basically opened up a potential niche for recolonisation, so different species might be able to come in. So mowing can cause a small scale diverse habitat. Oh, I didn't see this, I looked at this yesterday. This is an orchid. You see him? It's, I think, an early purple orchid, which is a bit late. But I don't actually know because it's been mown. And there looks to be two closely spaced rosettes there. And we've also got this here, it's Carex nigra, black sedge. And this is hardheads, which is the knapweed, black knapweed. Centaurea nigra, I think. So mowing short and keeping short can give you a diverse sward. Oh, and this here. This is grass that can be invasive. This is, oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Sorry people. Ryegrass. Lowly perennial, I think, which is a perennial, puts up these large flowering spikes, but this is dwarfed because it's been mown and mown and mown and mown and mown. Instead of the grass growing tall, grass is staying short, and it's trying to put up little flowering heads so it can do its thing. There's another one there, and here's another little sedge. You see, male parts above, female parts below. The GoPro's bringing this out. So by mowing you can keep things short. Goodness knows what that is. I think it's a stone crop. Here's another sedge. So on this little patch you can find a lot of diversity. And grasses are special, grasses are clever. Instead of growing from the top like most other species, they tend to grow from the bottom. So if you chop your grass off, the actual dividing part is down here. The leaves basically surround each other. And the growing point is hidden down there, right close to the soil surface. So if you chop it off, it grows from the bottom. As Robert Heinlein would say in his famous 60s book, Stranger in a Strange Land, grass grocks being walked on, grass also grocks being cut or grazed. And here we're mimicking grazing. So we get an interesting sward if you don't feed it and weed it, and if you just cut it, and if your soil is fairly poor. And this tends to be why brownfield sites can be very interesting, because as well as poor soil, so you haven't got the opportunities for rank, quick growing species, tall growing species to come in. You've also got patchy habitat, patchy soil conditions. So bare ground, subsoil, rubble. And these can all be chances for diversity for different species to grow. Right, let's finish with another view of these things, which are those eyebrights, Euphrasia. Lots of different species in Britain, they're all very difficult to tell apart. Even if my botany was in practice, I'd be hard pressed. And here, more violets. So yeah, interesting, I think, in an anorak sort of way. I wonder if we can find any more orchids. I think I'll go and have a look. Hope that was interesting up till now. Ecology in an Air BNB.